Hello everyone, welcome to DevOps Sorry family. I am Rajeshwaran. Today we are going to explore on the Docker. So we all are working on the enterprise level, like we are all at the application architecture. You all aware that we are working on the microservice based architecture. The monolithic architecture has been retired. There are few applications, but that was considered as a legacy. But in the today's era, we are all dependent on the microservice architecture. So for that one, we need to have the knowledge in the Docker. That will give us more confident, and if you have the Docker knowledge, that will really helpful to leverage that knowledge, and you can able to work on the Kubernetes. That is a Kubernetes based microservice deployment. That is the orchestration tool for the containers. Yeah, so keeping in that mind, I thought of creating a few videos related to Docker, so that will give some confidence. So that followed by the Docker series, we will go on the Kubernetes series. Okay, so if you want to get practice in the Docker, you just go to any browser and just type for the download Docker for Windows. Since I use Windows in my laptop, I just downloaded this one. I already downloaded, just download this one, and just click next to install this one. Once you have installed this one, the very first command, you have to go to your command prompt. Since I'm planning this one, I just create some folders. But yeah, I also use git bash for my practice. Okay, so the moment you install the Docker, you just go for the Docker first command, that is Docker version. This will give you the Docker version, and if you see, this is the client version and this is the Docker desktop version we have just downloaded. And also you can go with the Docker hyphen info. This Docker hyphen info. This will also give some information on the client as well as the server level. Okay, these are the two first command you have to ensure that after you install the Docker, and followed by, and I have installed this Docker desktop, and also I am running uh, Kubernetes in my local with kind as well as the Docker desktop. So I will show you that one. So I'm just creating a live for the kubectl. Okay, so if you see, this is the Kubernetes cluster I'm running in my local, and if I want to see all the Kubernetes which I have deployed in my local, I will just use kconfig get context. So this command will show you what are the cluster you are running. If you see, currently my context is set to Docker desktop, and also I have the kind cluster created, but I'm not using the kind cluster for now. For this demo, the Docker, we will be only using the Docker desktop. Okay, so once you download this one, and you after you verify the Docker version, you go to the hub.docker.com and create a account in the Docker. This is the repository, this is the public repository, so you can able to build your image locally and push your image in the remote repository. This is a Docker remote repository. So once you, since I have already logged in, I'll be just signing out from here. Okay, so you can just give a try with a sign up by just filling some details. After that, you can able to log in to the hub.docker.com, that is the remote repository. Okay, once you log in, I will show you what are the repository I have. These are my repository. If you see, this is the repository name and followed by the image name with the tag. If I just click this one, okay, you can able to see the tags and the image version. So if you see Docker pull, this is my registry name and this is my repository name and this is my image name which having the tags. Okay, we'll go through all this one. What is the image, what is the tag, everything I'm going to show you all that in my demos, upcoming demos. Okay, for now, first we need to just learn few basic commands. Okay, so if you see, first command will be docker ps. This will list the container which is running in your local. Okay, they give, these are all the containers which is running. If you see status for 2 hours, right? So these are all the containers which is running in my local. If I want to see what are the containers which is not running but it was stopped, so you can just give docker ps -a. Yeah, if you see these many container are created, and all these comments, docker ps-a will show you the exited container as well as the running container, both. Okay, now I have my image created. For example, if I want to, like, I don't want to just go with Nginx. You know, Nginx is a basic web application that will run, you can just practice that one, but I want to go with a real experience, that I have my image that is available publicly. If you see, this is my image, this is publicly available, right? If I want to pull this image, then I can able to pull this image using this command. Docker pull is a command, and followed by the repository and the image name with a tag. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will go and just docker, or maybe I will just copy and paste this one. Okay, yeah. So what it will do, it will go and pull the images. Okay, just giving, so this is the command docker pull, and this is the registry name, my, and followed by my repo with the tag number. So this will go and download the images from the remote repository. Okay, so now if I want to run this image, because what we are seeing here is there will be two things. One is the image. From the image we can able to run the container. Okay, so now if I want to run the container, I will just go through docker run. Okay, followed by the name of the image. So if you see, this is my remote repository name. Yeah, and if you go through this one, and if I just press enter, I will show you this container. If you see, this is in the running process. That means we are not able to type anything here. Okay, so this should be, we need to close this one, so only we can able to interact this one. For example, if I go and just do something, we cannot able to access this container. Okay, so if I want to just get out of this one, I will just press Ctrl C. Okay, now if we want to run the container in the backend, that means this container will run in the background, so that we can able to access the container using the browser. For that one, we need to have a -d flag, that is the detached mode. Then if I want to access this container, okay, in order to access this container, I need to map this my host, because this is my host system, right? I cannot directly access the container using the port number, because all the application will listen on some port, right? So I need to map some port number from my host system to the docker container which I am going to create. Okay, for that one, I'll be just giving 999. This is my host port, followed by the container port. I will show you how I know this container port. Okay, and this is for we are mapping this as a port, right? For this one we have to give the port number, and also we have to give a name for to my container. I can give hyphen name flag. I'll be just going with 29 AUG 2025. Okay, so this is the flag we are going to give, so that in my local browser, if you see, okay, I have that command with me. So if you see, this is the command I'm going to run now to start my container, which we pull the images. Okay, the page is one docker run -d for the detached mode and p for the port number, followed by the name which I'm going to create 29 August 2025, and this is the image name which we downloaded. Okay, if I just click enter, it's saying the name is already there, so I can just give 2925. Okay, yeah. So now the container got created. If we go and just do a docker ps grep -i, and my container name is this one, right? Okay, yeah, you see the container, this is the container id and this is the image name which we used to create the container using the image name, and this container was up for 23 seconds, and this is the host port which is get mapped to the container port, and this is the name of the container which I given as a input. If I go to my, so I have given, okay, 8080, right? Localhost 8080. Yeah, you see, this is my website which I already published over the internet, that is DevOps for You space. Yeah, so this is the image I have developed and pushed to the Docker repository using some tool. I have published this over internet. Okay, this will be only accessible from my local system, but this space DevOps for You space I have published over internet mapping this image. Okay, so now I am running this container in my local system. Fine. So how to check now, if I go and just, if I want to stop the container, okay, we will be using docker stop. You can use maybe the name or the container id. I will use docker stop container id. If you do the same docker ps, I will just press the up arrow. You see, now the container is not running. That is the reason it's not giving the result. If I do a -a, because we will use -a command to list all the stopped container as well as the running container. See, the container was exited 20 seconds ago. Okay, so now today we have just gone through the docker version command and docker info, and instead of this run hello world, we have used my personal website which I developed, which is published over the docker repository, and we have pull the docker image, right, using the docker pull, and also we have gone through the docker ps command to list all the running container as well as ps-a for all the stopped as well as running container. So this is the day one lesson, guys. I'll be publishing the next video with the next set of commands. So today the takeaway for our session is Docker version, how to identify the version of the Docker which we install, as well as we have to create a account in hub.docker.com so that we can able to push our local image to remote repository, that is the Docker repository. And once we have the repository image push to the remote repository, we can able to pull that image locally and we can able to run that image. Okay, so this is the sample website, or I can say the version of my website which I just dockerized, and I have made that as an image, and I can able to run that image using the container in my locally. Okay, that command is docker run for the docker run command, and -d to run the command or the container in the detached mode, -p for the port number from the host system to the container port, and the name I have just given as 29 August 2025. This is my local image which I pulled from the Docker Hub. And if you ask me how I have given this 80 as a port number, right? So there is one command called docker inspect followed by the image name. Okay, this is the image which we pulled from Docker Hub, right? Here it will give all the instruction or all the information on the Docker image. So if you see, this is the Nginx base image, and here if you see, it will give you the port number. You see, expose port number is 80. Using this only, I have forwarded this one from my local 8080 to 80. Okay, and thank you guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch on my next video.